They've got to mature about this.
So what do you say to people who say, well, this sounds all very good, but Governor, you were the poster boy for a lot of this stuff?
So let's talk about the word Latinx. Just 2 weeks ago, here's what he said about it.
By the way, not one person ever in my office has ever used the word Latinx.
So can we finally put that to bed?
Yeah,
we agree?
where did that even
No more Latinx, everybody.
Well, I just didn't even know where it came from. How impactful this has been on the Latinx community. The Latinx and Black communities. You've got politicians that are banning not assault rifles, but the word Latinx. Like, what are people talking about?
But there was a person who used Latinx. It was actually a really important person. It was him.
I mean, this idea that we can't even have a conversation with the other side?
You have to. They won.
Thank you. That's it. Bottom line. These guys are crushing us.
What's going on, guys? So we got to talk about the Democrats actually wising up and being a little bit smart, just a smidgen, a modicum smarter than normal, because Gavin Newsom out of California is chopping it up with Bill Maher. And as you know, Bill Maher has had some slightly more reasonable takes as of late. And so has Newsom. Effectively, he's gearing up to run for president in 2028. Of course, denies that, but, you know, Newsom lies like he breathes. And they're talking about strategy and how they have to talk to Republicans. Bill Maher takes the opportunity to call him out to his face, which is something that I love. He's like, hey, you're one of the arbiters of woke policy and regulation and effectively having a state that is fallen to the pits of hell. So he definitely calls him out for that. But I love the fact that the conversation is even happening. So again, even if they end up cheating on some other election and ended up somehow miraculously winning and tricking people into voting for them, we still won't be, hopefully, in this extremely woke, crazy, deranged, non-free speech, authoritarian, communistic environment. But, you know, you never know. They might just be saying all this, lying, and then get in office and then turn into Sleepy Joe Biden 2.0, which is probably what they're going to do. But without further ado, let's go ahead and react to this.
This idea that we can't even have a conversation with the other side?
You have to. They won.
Thank you. That's it. Bottom line. And
well, be careful. What's her name? Francesca from, well, former employee of TYT, might get on you and start calling you a B word for saying that you want to talk to people on the right. You're scratching her back, Newsom.
By the way, or the notion we just have to continue to talk to ourselves, or we're in the same damn echo chamber. These guys are crushing us. The Democratic brand is toxic right now. We had a high water mark 2 weeks ago, and that was a CNN poll at 29% favorability.
There's a reason why congressional Democrats have like a 20% approval rating, and even amongst their own party has like a 40%, the lowest Quinnipiac has ever measured. And I think last night and sort of what's been going on over the past few months is a gosh darn good illustration of that.
Agreed.
It's dropped in the NBC poll down to 27%. It's one thing
pathetic.
to make noise, but you also have to make sense. And I think with this podcast and having the opportunity to dialogue with people I disagree with, it's an opportunity to try to find common ground and not take cheap shots. I'm not looking to put a spoke in the wheel of their, or at least a...
I mean, well, I think one of the issues, Newsom, and I got to interrupt this sometimes due to copyright, so don't freak out too much in the comments, but Newsom... The problem is that he agrees with them on some things. Like they'll get to the whole trans or the men and women's sports issue, and they cannot stand any type of agreement with the right. They are anti-Trump. They've become the anti-Trump party. Like Sonny Holston said, the opposition party. Just oppose everything that the right does. Unfortunately, some people have clung to that, and now that's been deemed okay. And obviously that is not a winnable position. The hate the other party position is not the position. That's not the position I have. I don't like a lot of stuff in the Democrat Party, but I don't just hate everything. I think that their hearts sometimes can be in the right place, but their execution is garbage.
Crowbar in the spokes of their wheel to trip them up, to your point. And I think it's important. Democrats, we tend to be a little more judgmental than we should be. This notion of cancel culture, you've been living it. You've been on the receiving end of it for years and years and years. That's real. And Democrats need to own up to that. They've got to mature.
It's not just that. They are woke virtue signalers and liars. And those are terrible combinations of human beings to exist.
So what do you say to people who say, well, this sounds all very good, but Governor, you were the poster boy for a lot of this stuff. I see today that Trump in California had a rule that schools cannot be required to notify parents if their kids in school have changed their gender, their pronouns. That's the kind of thing that makes a lot of people go, well, you know what? That's the party without common sense.
Yeah, they're woke as hell and don't believe in parents' rights. Many people on the left have even stated as such. I've heard nobody on the right ever say that they don't believe in parents' rights.
We have never invested as much in public education as we should have because we've always had kind of a private notion of children. Your kid is yours and totally your responsibility. We haven't had a very collective notion of these are our children. So part of it is we have to break through our kind of private idea that kids belong to their parents or kids belong to their families and recognize that kids belong to whole community.
But in regard to the whole, your kid is trans and the teacher's secretly grooming the child behind your back, that's something that only people on the radical left believe in. And it floors me that when you talk to, let's say, black folks and they want to just talk about racism, it's like, well, let's talk about this. People that are effectively a bunch of pedos and predators trying to groom children. In some cases, they literally have had a lesbian woman. I saw a recent story, a lesbian woman fell in love with one of the students when she was 16. They had a secret relationship behind the back of everybody. And then as soon as the kid turned 18, moved in with the teacher, and then they moved out of state together. They were just so in love. These people are crazy, guys. They are groomers. You can't trust the majority of them. I'm just keeping it real. Like, once you go through enough life, you understand, like, you keep giving people the benefit of the doubt and they keep showing you who they are. Believe yours.
I just disagree with that. I mean, I don't think they should be required to turn in kids. And by the way,
we're talking about their parents. How can you snitch? The idea of a snitch and a parent, to me, doesn't compute.
Well, I don't, but what is the job of a teacher?
And this is like saying that if a child, let's say they got pregnant and the school somehow found out, you're not gonna tell the parent? I mean, this is something, it's just like how they have it where they could give out like IEDs and stuff, right? This guy's lying. They can hand out condoms and put IEDs in women. And guess what happens? If the child gets pregnant, or gets an STD, heaven forbid, or something, or they have complications related to the IUD, guess who has to pay for it and guess who has to deal with it? The parent.
It's to teach. If Johnny's talking about some identity issue or some issue about liking someone of the same sex, is the teacher's job to then report that. By the way, in this law, the teacher can still do that, but they can't be fired if that's what it can't be fired if that's not what they do.
So after 3 different AI searches, Assembly Bill 1955, also known as the Support Academic Futures and Educators for Today's Youth Act, also known as SAFETY, which went into effect January 1st, 2025, explicitly prohibits California educational institutions funded by the state from enacting or enforcing policies that would require staff to disclose a student's sexual orientation, gender identity, or gender expression in any form, including to the student's parents without the student's consent unless required by law. California's Department of Education also provides guidance stating that the school staff generally cannot share information about a student's gender identity and sexual orientation without the student's permission, except in very limited circumstances such as emergency. Okay, so do you buy what Newsom is selling?
I just think that was fair, and I don't think that's inappropriate.
I've seen a lot of people lately talking about this 80-20 issue. Should biologically born men be able to compete in women's sports?
That's tough.
And, I saw the polling here in California. They think you're a traitor for saying this.
Yeah.
When those kind of people call you a traitor, there's a word for that, electable.
Yo, that's kind of facts, though, because if Newsom takes more time to get toward the middle, he's trying to do what Kamala did, except correctly, and basically pretend to be in the middle, except do it for longer to where people can actually forget. So it won't be like last month you were this deranged leftist radical, and now a month later you're talking about how you no longer support defunding the police, how now you support fracking, how now you're not with the transes. So this is actually a pretty smart move.
If the Democrats can't get with 80, how are they going to do something when it's a 51-49?
Now, is it fair? And I can give you example after example. Just in my home state, there was someone that won a triple jump, by 8 feet.
Right.
All right? It's just, but it's not serious. And
Yeah, I almost forgot about that nonsense where the person won by 8 feet. I saw that. I don't think I had an opportunity to post a video about that.
Hernandez of Rupa Valley High School. Amazing. 3 wins today. What was the SMR?
SMR, long, triple, and then I have high later.
Hey, yo, what the fuck? But it was scummy, guys. These people are scumbags in general. This is one of the reasons why I don't get the wokeness. I get that they're trying to build this coalition of looking like they're the good guys. Hey, we're the nice guys. We're the inclusive people. So they try to like basically take everybody. But now they're realizing that the average person isn't following all of this ridiculous extreme wokeness. I mean, they should have read the room a long time ago. Obviously, that's what using your brain would tell you. That's what Trump did. And Joe Rogan, Elon Musk, a lot of people. But, you know, these people, you know, they hedged their bets and they lost. It's probably because these people are so fraudulent. They don't really understand how to be real, how to read the room. They just understand basic numbers and data and just try to follow stuff like that. That's another reason that Kamala Harris got cooked, is because they cooked the books. You know, they say the numbers don't lie. Well, it appears as though the numbers lied in that case, because they were pretending as though her polling was great and that she had no chance of losing. That's why so many people were so shocked. And I have no doubt at all that the next election they're going to try to do the same thing with whoever is running on the Democrat Party side, be it Newsom or someone else. Now, is he actually going to end up running for president? Yes, absolutely. Is he going to end up winning the primary? I don't know, because California has been so bad. Everybody's going to attack him. I think they see him as a front runner. It's certainly not going to be Jasmine Crockett or AOC or anything like that. They're going to get cooked because they're inexperienced and they're buffoons. Like, they're not intelligent, not even at all. They certainly don't act like it when they're speaking in Congress and going to public events and giving speeches. So Gavin Newsom actually acts like he's at least trying to be somewhere in the middle, even though he's lying about it. At least he is a good faker and pretender, which is exactly what the Democrat Party seems to love, is people who pretend that they're the good guy, even if it's completely untrue. But I'm glad that Bill Maher at least called this guy out for basically being a snake oil salesman. And he's pretty much trying to uplift him and get him ready so that he can sell falsehoods to America. So congratulations, Bill Maher. You're doing a great job as a left-wing propagandist. Even though you hate all of this woke stuff, you're still uplifting your team. So at least we can say that you are loyal. But these are just my thoughts, guys. Let me know what you guys think. Drop a like on the video. Subscribe to the channel if you're new. I appreciate y'all watching the Black Anomaly Rising channel. I'm out.
Right?
Yeah, that's right. And look, these aren't minor shifts. These are progressive issues that Gavin Newsom used to champion until fairly recently. And now he's not just walking away from them. He's sort of acting like they were never legitimate with that clip talking about Latinx.
they're not even serious.